Lesson 5. First, form finding parameters to control the tent form. Second, cut and patterning functions. Third, how to create the holes inside the fabric surface. And 4, practices. Let's now consider some parameters that we can use when designing to control a final form of tent. We use the function form-finding surface edit. We should indicate the surface, and the first parameter in this card is density of subdivision. To define its value, we should find a segment with the minimum Cartesian length and decide how many subsegments it should be split into. The number of such subsegments influences to the final grid density. The higher this number is, the more number of tent surface triangles is. Note, it's not recommended to define this number more than 16 for majority of structures, because of large computation time without notable increasing of accuracy. The optimal number is 8. The second parameter is adaptation. If there is no tick in this window, the system forms the cloth like a minimum surface that is like a soap bubble. Otherwise, the cloth balances at another form and the tent looks thicker than previously. For example, there is no tick here. Press OK. And we have such situation. Repeat once more with the tick. OK. Other parameters here are very specific and are used not too often. It's no comment to function form finding delete. It allows removing the surface, and the function form finding add hole we consider a bit later with more details. Since we have created our tent structure, then we should cut out it into a set of strips to unfold them onto the plane. To make it, we activate the commands group pattern. There are several functions in this group. Using cut and line function, we can draw the lines of closed subdivision. These lines will be associated with the closed seams. We can draw the line as a shorter path between 2 points. Points must belong to the surface lines. That is, it's wrong and like this. Okay, once again. Okay. That is our two shortest paths. The associated line function allows drawing the line as a line of the intersection of the surface and plane on top of a given frame. That is, associated line 1 point, 2nd point, continue, okay, once again, 1 point, 2nd point, continue, okay. This is associated line. The free line function can be executed in 2 modes, namely 2 points and 3 points. The first mode is equivalent to associated line function when in horizontal view as the current frame. That is, First point, second point. Continue. Okay. The second mode allows defining three basic points for working plane, like this. And third point. Okay. The mark line function is very useful to draw lines on the cloth. We can use this function if we wish to keep special marks on the strip after they are unfolding. Another purpose of this function is special marking to use other functions such as add hole, for example. We will discuss it later. This function works identically to function cutting line. The label line function allows subdividing the lines into a set of subsegments equal each other. We can do it in such way. Select function label line, indicate the surface, and mark the line to subdivide. For example, this we can see in the command line the length of the line. If we need to subdivide it into 4 equal subsegments, we type the slash press enter. As a result, additional points are located on the line. 1, 2, 3 points. They subdivide the line into 4 equal subsegments. We can use them further for snap when drawing, cutting, or mark lines like. The function delete line allows removing the selected line. To remove a line, we should simply indicate it. We won't demonstrate it because of this function evidence. Now we will cut out the surface into the strips. We should take into account that our tent has several symmetry planes. Look at this, please. Therefore, we have to cut out the 1/11th parts of it only. First of all, we label the top line in the same manner as previously. Label line, line 8 /4. Okay. Then draw 3 cutting lines as shortest path. First line, second line, and third line. Okay. Next step is to use the function cut to pieces, because we should say to the system that it has to cut out the entire cloth. It works like this. The surface should change its color if the function succeeded. After that, we should use the function unfold piece to develop plane mapping to that cutting pattern. We can do it for each strip separately, or for all strips in one step using subcommand all. And now we make it separately because not the whole closed area was cut out. That is, one strip, Finish. Second strip. Finish. Note please, we can do export of each strip plane mapping into DXF format to unique file of either using. Let me give you some comments on this view. Each line in the object database has its unique number, which is printed here. Besides, there is strip area in meters both in 3D space and in 2D plane. There is also a difference between them. Below you can see lengths of lines both in 3D space and in 2D plane too, and difference between them. The difference shows the plane mapping accuracy. Sometimes it is necessary to provide a hole in the surface for the column, tree, or timber crossing the tent like this. In this case, we should use the command from finding add hole. However, we have to draw an appropriate mark line on the tent surface before. Such mark line should have an arbitrary form of closed contour. At the same time, it should schedule the location and size of the hole. We can draw the mark line by the command mark line in any mode. But the best way is to calculate it as an intersection of the tent and arbitrary solid object. We can create such object by the K3 command, create primitives parallelepiped, for example. Let's do it. We do an arbitrary form of parallelepiped, of course. Yes, okay. Note please, we can create another primitive and cylinder, for instance. Next, we have to activate command mark line and in intersection with object mode. Okay. As you can see, we have created a mark line. The form of a mark line can be arbitrary. Next, we activate a command from finding add hole, indicate the surface and indicate mark line. Okay, now we have to wait just a little bit. Yes, the calculation process has completed, and now we have to delete a parallelepiped. Yes, and our hole is ready. Okay.